So inner space was originally based on two sets of classes that Rabbi Kaplan gave in the last year of his life. It was given in his home to a group that consisted mostly of a number of psychologists. And these psychologists were their questions, and I have some of the actual recordings of the cassette recordings, and how the questions were fired at him, and how he fielded the questions, and how exciting it was. And there were other people involved there also. Everything was transcripted. He was wise enough that the tapes were valuable and for him in the writing of his books. And so when everything was said and done and he passed away, he had prepared everything for the book that he wanted to call Inner Space. And it was based again on two classes. He himself mentions the word inner space in one of the early chapters, or perhaps in the introduction to Jewish meditation. Myself and a number of psychologists who wanted to know how to apply the deeper teachings of Torah to their practice, to helping patients, we explored the inner space of the Jewish teachings. So he had the name pointed out, and then there was two books. It was going to be there was Introduction to Kabbalah, and the second volume, or the second part of the book, was going to be Meditation and Prophecy. The Israeli printer put the two words together, inner space, and put the two titles together, and it changed the meaning of it. Inner space, I immediately got, it was perfect. It was perfect. It was not supposed to be two words. It was a single word, inner space. And the two titles put together now, it's Introduction to Kabbalah, Meditation, and Prophecy. The Kabbalah leads to a deeper need for communion, which then leads to a deeper relationship and the opening of the channels of prophecy. It wasn't just about a class about meditation and Kabbalah. It was an introduction to what eventually would lead to prophecy. Though I accepted those mistakes, so to speak, and it was very clear to us that it was really divinely guided from above. At that time, I even dreamt about him, and it was a tremendous experience of the privilege of putting together a book based on the teachings of this man. It was a 3-year process before I even had a computer. The book itself, again, is a presentation of the Kabbalistic teachings that Rabbi Kaplan had brought in his other books, but he had never brought them in a sequential order. It was always as a commentary on some other book. So here we have, for the first time, this incredible man, this incredible teacher, presenting it in an order that he himself determined. And in terms of the olamot, the worlds, he'd start at the top and he'd go all the way down. The levels of the soul, he'd start at the top and go all the way down. The sfirot, he'd start at the top and go all the way down. Chapter 4 is the sfirot. Chapter 5 is Keter. Chapter 6 is Chochmah and Bina. Chapter 7 is Chesed Gvura Tiferet. Chapter 8 is Netzach Od Yesod. Chapter 9 is Malchut. In other words, it develops. Chapter 10 now shows that what we've done till now was based on a certain assumption. Now he goes even deeper and shows in chapter 10 the shattering of the vessels, that what we've been speaking about now is after a certain point. Well, what happens before that point? Let's go back after we've explained the basics of the system and see where it all came from. Just masterful. Beautiful.